From the city of brotherly love, this is Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser.
Oops, he did it again. You just arrived to the newest episode of Shark Bite Biz. I'm your rockstar wannabe host, and this is your place to learn how to grow a business during complete global chaos. Now let's get back to today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the American dream. Yes, indestructible wealth. So, who do we have today? None other than Jack Gibson. Jack Gibson is an international serial entrepreneur and financial thought leader. He began his journey at 19 in direct sales and from his college dorm room in a nutrition distribution company where he built a multi-million-dollar venture before he was old enough to rent a car. After a series of stock market setbacks, he became obsessed with learning everything about real estate investing and built another multi-million-dollar portfolio generating passive income. So hey, without further delay, let's bring Mr. Jack Gibson right on in here.
Business strategy.
Jack, welcome to Shark Bite Biz. You, my friend, you just became Shark Bait.
I'm happy to be Shark Bait if it helps me to help other people.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what this show is all about, helping other people with the 3Gs, personal growth, professional growth, and obviously business growth. And I think you can definitely help a lot of people out there. So we have a tradition on the show. Very first question we ask everybody: what's your background? What's your experience? What do you do for a living? How'd you get there? Basically, in a nutshell, what makes Jack Jack?
That's a real long story, so I'm going to keep it short.
Go ahead.
I started as an entrepreneur back when I was 19. I was actually partly raised on a farm in the Midwest, so my mom drilled in all these work habits to me and just punished me with relentless labor. And one day, I'm 19, I'm in college, I stumble upon this opportunity to sell nutrition products with a direct sales company. I was always into fitness, athletics, supplementation, trying to put on muscle. And so it seemed like a great fit. So I started doing that. The same week, I did a contract work for my uncle on his farm, clearing off all of his new land that he just purchased with clearing off all the sticks and debris. And so I did 100 or put in 20 hours, turned in my timesheet, and gave me $100. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, this work was terrible.
$1 an hour. That's what you get for working for family, right?
Yeah. And so at the same time, I just sold like a $200 package of supplements, made $100 profit. And I said to myself, wow, like Jim Rohn was right. The famous business philosopher that trained Tony Robbins, profits are always better than wages. So that was the last time I ever did any work for anybody. I've always worked for myself.
And how old were you again when that happened?
Yeah, I was 19. I was a freshman in a small school in Michigan studying business marketing. And I did finish up school, but by the time I graduated, I was making almost $100,000 part-time from my dorm. So I went into that business full time and have built that up to a substantial business. And now I have 4 other businesses as well.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I got to say, before we go any further, with your last name being Gibson, I'm a huge Gibson fan, as you could tell with the Gibson patent right behind me. So I love my Gibson guitars.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be a Gibson guitar.
Well, that's an Epiphone, but still technically owned by Gibson. So it's all good, all good. So let's talk about some of these topics that you're kind of an expert in. And I guess the one that everybody is seeking an answer to would be the most important aspect of building indestructible wealth.
Well, when I think about indestructible wealth, and here's the thing, the original meaning of the word wealth was well-being. If you trace the original meaning and the roots of the word, which encompassed all areas of life, that included spiritual life and your health, your physical wealth, and your intellectual wealth, and not. So what happened in modern times is wealth. When we think of the word, we only think of money. We think of, material wealth. Whereas the real wealth that I'm teaching and that my life is based upon is harmonic wealth in all of those areas. I don't think it's good to be very rich and have success with your finances if your relationships suck, your spiritual life's in the toilet, and you're completely out of shape. And I don't think that is a indestructible wealth type of life. So that's the first thing. If we look at this, what I look at as indestructible wealth from a purely economic, monetary type of philosophy, it's having, multiple buckets of assets that are paying you passive income every month, to the point to where you're not relying upon any one stream of income that could get disrupted, that could dry up. Some, things can always go wrong in any type of business situation or investment. So having multiple streams of passive income coming in, that really gives you a level of indestructibleness with your finances. So if one thing does go wrong.
You give some ideas, like what are some good ideas out there for the multiple streams of income? Because there's a million things out there. But what have you found? I mean, it sounds like supplements is one of them, but what have you found to be some of those indestructible wealth type of products out there?
Well, I think the foundation of, my portfolio and what I teach is real estate related. I look at it and I teach it simply based on the monopoly game, the concept. In fact, I was playing it last night with my 13-year-old, and I don't let him win. I never let my kids win. They have to beat me legitimately so that they can be proud. But we get super competitive. But the game is simple, right? You buy a property, then you put rental houses on it, and then you eventually trade those up to bigger deals. So that's what I did. I started off buying single family homes, renting them out, and then started building equity of those after holding them for so many years. They grow in value. You start paying down the loans. You've got all these tax advantages. So you trade this equity when you sell it, trade it up into bigger deals, not hotels necessarily, but big deals like car washes or self-storage units, multifamily. Those are the things that I invest.
Like the car wash in Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
I finally worked Breaking Bad in this show after over 200 episodes.
Yeah. There's so much there. I think you could have done it earlier, but, kudos for getting it done right now. But yes, similar to that, except, we're not.
Car washes don't come up often.
We're not using the car wash to launder drug money, but beyond that, yes.
That's funny. That's funny. So, I mean, another one of your main points is strategy over tactics in the wealth building process. Why don't you explain what you mean by that a little bit?
Well, if you go on the tactical level, and if you look at, for example, the U.S. military, like they would never go into a battle without a very well-formulated strategy. I mean, they can go in with their tactics, which is what kind of weaponry are we using? What are those types of things? But in terms of the overall grand strategy, that's the most important part and determines the success of that operation. Whereas in the same thing in wealth, like for example, what stock you pick is a tactic. What specific property that you buy, that's a tactic. Looking at the whole portfolio and the asset allocation and making sure that we've got different assets, not just dependent upon, say, stock market or just dependent upon real estate, but we actually have a full portfolio of different assets so that if something happens in the economy and one of those assets gets impaired, you've got others that are going to make up for it. And typically not all assets go down at the same time. So it's the strategy of how do you
balance it, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. Balance the best as you can.
Okay. Now, one of the things you talked about was your children and how you never let them win on Monopoly and how they have to earn them themselves, which I think is great because it's a game about money. So who doesn't love a game about money? If only Monopoly dollars were real, as they say, right? So how do you instill that entrepreneurial spirit into your children? What do you do as a parent to get them to be entrepreneurial and not just like a lazy kickback doing nothing?
I don't have the perfect answer to that because
everybody's different.
Yeah, I've got a lot to improve on that. The biggest thing is just having conversations. If there's something that comes up where I can have a 1 or 2 minute teaching moment about business and entrepreneurialism, I'm going to do it. But then, I know their attention span is about that maybe 1 or 2 minute. In fact, I was going into, one of my talks just last week, and my Tyler, my youngest, was like, another, whatever sarcastic comment about me teaching them something about business. So, um, I think playing games, we play cash flow, the Robert Kiyosaki cash flow game. We play Monopoly a lot. We try to do things to where they're, getting, they're learning as we're having fun together. And then on top of that, try to get them involved, in the businesses as, working in the businesses or, as employees so that they can start to get a bit of experience there.
To learn the business, get the experience, kind of cut their teeth. I think that's all good advice. I mean, again, not the perfect answer, not going to work with every kid. I mean, I bought snacks for my kids, and I find out one day when I'm looking outside my office window, my daughter's out there selling it for money. And I'm like, that was for you guys to eat. She's like, well, I made $50. And I'm like, well, pay me for the snacks. No, it's my money.
They haven't thought about the cost of capital yet, have they?
Right. They have not. She doesn't have her mind around that. So one other thing that we talked about earlier was, the balance, like not everything usually goes down at once, and having the right balance in your portfolio. So what do you think is the right mindset, for a long-term view on your portfolio?
Well, I just look at it like this. I mean, like, for example, for the guys that went all in on crypto, I mean, I love crypto. I have a Bitcoin mining company. We provide Bitcoin automation in terms of the mining, and it's fantastic. But that's really it's not for a brand new investor. They should have some real estate assets or something a little bit more solid. But it's a fantastic way to create another stream of passive income. But if you go, all those guys who went in all in on crypto when it was hot.
Do you think crypto will last a long term? I feel regulations are coming down, and it's going to damage the market in a bad way. Now, maybe long term, everything turns out to where it works. But I think if they come out with like the USD coin or whatever they were calling it, with the digital US dollar, I think that's going to really disrupt the game as far as what I need Bitcoin if I can get digital dollars and things like that. And I don't know. I just feel that with pending government regulation, considering what FTX and all those other scams that were out there, that something big is going to happen soon.
I think that regulation is necessary, and I'm looking forward to the clarity that's coming down the pipeline. Will they come down a little bit too tough on it? That's potentially, but they can't really control it. It's a decentralized operation. So they can't ever stop it. It's worldwide.
Well, they can make it illegal in a way, because I mean, they do have it illegal in many countries.
So personally, in my opinion, I don't even see that as a possibility, because when you have huge financial titans like BlackRock, coming in with $10 trillion, those guys pull a lot of strings. I don't think that they're going to want to be able to go to battle with Larry Fink at BlackRock. They're not going to win that war. So, and if you look at the court case that was just, decided, now granted, that's probably going to go through the appeal process, but the SEC action against Ripple, well, that was just a huge win for the crypto space. That gave a lot of clarity around future regulations, although we still got a long way to go. So yeah, I don't see that personally, David, as a long-term detriment. We'll have some short-term tailwinds or short-term headwinds, one or the other, but I don't think it's going to last forever.
Right. Understood. So you did mention wealthy people like BlackRock, and the CEO and some other people there, and all the people that have made millions in crypto. And what are their secrets? The secrets of the wealthy?
Secrets of the wealthy. Well, number one thing is that they don't really like risk as much as what people might think. Their primary mantra is safety first. They put a big chunk of their principal capital into assets that kick off, safe, predictable income, a lot of real estate. They anchor their whole portfolios with whole life insurance, with precious metals. They look for things that are going to last and that aren't going to be just short term, they take the income from their safe investments, and that's what they use for their riskier stuff. Or they take the top 10% of their, the top 10% of their capital. And let's say they have 10 million, they might take $1 million and put it into risky stuff, but they don't gamble like what a lot of us think. The other thing is, like I said earlier, multiple streams of income are extremely important to the wealthy. And I think, if I'm modeling your portfolio off somebody that is wealthy, is certainly, they leave success clues, they leave tracks for all of us to run on. But, there's a big difference between somebody that's, starting from, zero, or, in that $0 to $100,000 mark with their capital of what they should do versus somebody who's, they've already got their wealth.
So early on, we were talking about real estate, car washes, not laundering money through car washes and stuff like that. What are some of the keys to turnkey cash flow real estate investing? What's some of those secrets? Because everybody hears that all over the place, people slinging this or slinging that solution, but some of it's real, some of it's Ponzi schemes, some of it's fake. What are the true secrets out there? What can you really do to get that turnkey cash flow in real estate?
Yeah, the big problem with people that are kind of new and they want to get into real estate, they're probably successful in their business, or they're successful in their career as a employee or W-2 earner, and they're busy and they're very good at that. And so if they take time away from that to go pursue building a real estate portfolio where they're going out and looking at, deals, all the deals on their own, they're trying to put together a construction contractor team to rehab their properties and fix them up. Because a lot of times, if you're going to get something decently priced on the open market, it's going to need some work. And then the management team, you got to vet a management team unless you want to self-manage. But if you're self-managing and you probably end up losing money because you're distracted from your primary job or your business. So turnkey is a great option. It allows people to come in that don't have or don't want to, take the time, energy, and all of that to put all those teams together. So like our company, for example, High Return Real Estate, we've been rehabbing homes and we have the whole system figured out. It's taken us like 6-7 years to put it all together, but we can go out and we can help an investor acquire a property, renovate it, rent it out, manage it. We have a whole system for that. And, it helps people to stay in their lane so that they don't, once you veer out of your lane, it's costly. There's a lot of mistakes that can be made.
Yeah. No, I think it's very easy to make a mistake if you pick the wrong person to invest with, because I think there's two parts of the puzzle. And I say the same exact thing with my ERP sales. You need the right software solution and you need the right partner to implement it. I view it's the same way with real estate. You need the right investment, right real estate investment, and you need to be investing with the right people as well.
I think you're absolutely spot on. I've said many times in my podcast and my blogs, the team behind the investment is more important than the asset, the investment itself, because if the team will make or break it. And if you got a bad team or a dishonest team, well, yeah, you're definitely screwed on that one. So yeah, you got to vet the team. That's paramount.
How do you vet the team so that you do it in the right way and make sure that it's the right person to invest in with?
Well, checking references. You could even go so far as to do a background check. When you're talking about a lot of money, spending a few $100 to do a background check on someone, I wish I would have done that. That would have saved me a lot of money. Because look, people, they tend to show up as, who they are from what they've done in the past. Of course, people can change and I know people can get better, but you've got somebody that's been pretty shady practices in the past. Like, I don't really want any part of that. I could have avoided that type of situation, with just a simple background check. I'm sure it have showed me enough red flags where I would have ran away.
So I got two final questions for you before we wrap up. The first one is, okay, what does it really mean as far as asset allocation goes? What are you talking about with that?
Yeah, that's just the percentage of your total investable dollars that you put into each asset class. My portfolio, for example, is anchored on real estate. So 50% or more of my total investable dollars is plowed into real estate, rental property, syndications like the car washes, self-storage. Those are incredible ways to grow wealth without, being directly involved. Crypto, for example, I think a proper asset allocation to crypto is like 10 or maybe 20% if you're really aggressive of your total portfolio. So my opinion, it's an awesome asset class, but it's going to have a huge amount of volatility. So unless you want your portfolio going up and down by 50 to 80% or more, then, you better have a proper asset allocation so you can ride out those storms and still have some, success with your plan.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then the last question I want to ask you before we wrap up here is tell me some of your best. And if we're doing the best, you got to tell us some of your worst investments that you have made as well.
Best investment ever was back when I was 20. I realized quickly that I was my own best asset. So I started doing courses and seminars, and I hired coaches. I mean, granted, I'm in college. I'm a sophomore in college when I started doing this. So I'm already, we're already paying money towards school, but self-education is what, makes you a fortune, whereas traditional education gets you a job. So I did, for example, I did the Napoleon Hill Foundation. They have a private coaching program based on Think and Grow Rich. And that was amazing. And I've, $1,000, that was probably tough for a college kid to come up with. Most people are at that age are spending their money on, Bud Light or Miller Lite or whatever. That's my thoughts in terms of like best investment, in terms of because I've returned, that's returned me, millions of dollars putting money into my own mind. If you talk about a specific investment, storage has been my best investment. That's been returning 25% annualized returns for the past decade. I've never lost money on storage, and I love it. Worst investment, dang. I did, like I kind of alluded to when I first started buying rental real estate, the guy who was running it was running a Ponzi scheme.
Okay. So that's what I talked about earlier when I was saying, hey, like some of these real estate things are kind of like Ponzi schemes or scams or things like that. How do you find the right person? And here you go. Bing, bing, boom. One of the first ones you did was an actual Ponzi scheme, but I find it really incredible that you were able to get past that and that you still ended up investing in real estate even after having that negative experience.
Like, let's say you have your very first date, with opposite sex doesn't go well, right? You don't give up on the concept of, dating and marriage and all that. I had a very bad experience, but I loved the idea of real estate. I believed in the power of real estate. I had one bad experience. That doesn't need to stop me from pursuing my goals and dreams. In fact, in most things that I start, I think most things that humans start, you're probably not very good at it when you start it. You don't know what you don't know. You don't have skills. You don't know, there's so many things that can go wrong that you're not even aware of as far as risk factors go. You don't know how to vet a team. So you got to have grace with yourself. Things probably, a lot of times they don't go well, but if you stick to them and you stay after and you believe in it, then eventually you can turn it around and make something really great about it.
That is amazing. So finally, how can people reach out to you? How can they find you? Tell us about your podcast, anything that you want to share. Tell our audience out there all you want.
Thank you. Well, the best way for people to follow me is go to my website, myindestructiblewealth.com. I have a blog, I have a podcast, I have 2 books, one of them for free. And then when you sign up for the free book, right on the main page, you can get into my weekly newsletter called the Passive Income Playbook. And for free every week, I share my best ideas on how to manage your money as an entrepreneur or as a professional, and how to utilize that money to buy income. Now, that's what the wealthy do. When payday hits, the wealthy do something different than the rest of us. They buy income right away, and meaning they buy assets that produce cash flow. So yeah, just hit my site, and I have a podcast called the Indestructible Wealth Show. It's been 140 episodes or something. And
I got more than you.
You do?
Yeah, I think we're at 210 right now. And by the time this comes out, it'd be like 216, 217.
Well, look, I mean, that's pretty remarkable accomplishment. I know what kind of effort
even hitting 140 is a remarkable accomplishment.
It is.
A lot of people give up after, 40, 50 episodes.
Most people, David, 50% of all shows don't even make it past 14 episodes.
Wow. That's incredible.
Even one episode, crazy enough to believe, but it's a really high percentage that do one episode and quit. And it's crazy because you put all this effort into doing your logo and your sound bites and your editing. You got all this stuff lined up. You got your mic. You got so much effort to start. Why not just give it a chance to work?
It takes time for podcasts to build its audience and stuff like that. And we're finally starting to build it here. The only thing we're lacking is more engagement. Like I get plenty of emails like, hey, David, I just watched your show. I loved it. Can I be on? Things like that. I get a lot of people or asking me a question or want me to connect them to somebody. But I'm like, why don't we just put it on the podcast, on the YouTube video, on the Spotify channel itself, like get some engagement going. That always drives me nuts. But hey, it is what it is. It'll appear one day.
Yeah, I found that exactly true. Like there's not a great way for the audience to interact through podcasts. I mean, there's no way to chat on a Spotify or the Apple podcast. They can't.
Well, you can now with Spotify. If you're hosting with Spotify, you can actually put questions down like Q&A. So I put my question of each episode right in the Q&A, and I write it down there. Like this week's was, what do you think of escape rooms? Something easy, like wasted time, fun, stupid, whatever. Give us your thoughts and opinions. It was a simple question.
I'm not very good at figuring those out. I'm not good at figuring out those escape rooms. So for me, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I'm not good at them either. But anyways, hey, Jack, it was amazing talking with you, my friend. So grateful for you to come on. I know you're a busy man, spending your time with me and our audience and just helping give them ideas of how they can find that personal, professional, and business growth with passive income. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on, David. Been a pleasure.
It's been awesome, my friend. Cheers. Wow, that was an incredible interview with Jack, right? First, you all know the routine. If you found this interview helpful, if it sparked those warm and fuzzies, do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. But if you really want to help us out, because Shark Bite Biz is the greatest kept secret in the world of small business, please share us out to your friends, families, colleagues, whoever you want, wherever you dwell on the interwebs. I'd love to see nothing more than Jack Gibson and Shark Bite Biz out there trending. Now let's get back to the real rock star of the show, Mr. Jack Gibson. Indestructible wealth is something we all dream about. Jack is one of those tried, tested, and true people that built himself from the ground up, fighting in the trenches with real life experience. And man, did he give us some incredible insights. I really hope this interview helped you learn some of the secrets of the wealthy as you continue, or maybe you're just starting your own personal wealth journey. Best of luck to you all. Awesome stuff, Jack. Thanks for coming on, sharing your expertise and how you're helping people generate wealth. Question of the day. Real estate investing, yay or nay? Leave a comment down below on YouTube. Also on Spotify, you can answer the question of the day. Do you want to be on the show? Interviews at sharkbitebiz.com. We are scheduling now. I had so many people in the queue. I emailed them, and it's like I'm not getting hold of people. So I had a little bit short. Plus, I've also changed careers in the midterm, too, which kind of messed the flow up a little bit. But if you're watching on YouTube, join the channel. $3 a month. You can become a baby shark, and by becoming a baby shark, you can support the channel directly. Every dollar comes in is every dollar that goes out to help people like you find Shark Bite Biz and grow your money, your business, your career, your personal growth, whatever it may be. You all know this by now, but I'll say it once again. I'm David Strausser. This is Shark Bite Biz. We'll see you all next episode. Cheers.
You just experienced Shark Bite Biz with David Strausser. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the show to help us spread the word about personal, professional, and business growth. Want to be on the show? Send an email to interviews@sharkbitebiz.com. Reach out for more info. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.